How you doing? My name is nichiejc. No, I was not named after a German philosopher. Back in the summer, I had $1 million idea that I was going to reread books that I had to do book reports on in middle school and make these like full summary roast videos on them. Because my 7th grade teacher hated me and just loved to torture her students with the worst books known to man for us to do our little book reports on. Last episode, I covered Matched by Ali Condi, and if you thought that that book was bad, oh boy, are you in for a treat with this one, because somehow this one is worse. And it became so much worse upon me rereading it for the first time in, oh my god, what, like 8 years? This is I Am Number 4 by Pittacus lore. Now, if you were like me at the age of 13 and you were thinking, holy shit, that's an unfortunate name, fear not, because it's actually a pseudonym for 2 different guys, James Frey and Joby Hughes. Despite the title of the book, this is book 1 in a 7-book series, first published in 2010. So you already know that this is going to reek of early 2010s YA tropes. This might be genuinely the worst book that I had to read in middle school. Maybe the worst YA book I've ever read in my entire life. So let's not waste any time anymore and let's just jump straight into this. So the book starts on a really casual note with a 14-year-old boy from Kenya getting stabbed to death by aliens. That is the prologue. That is chapter 1. We then move on to meet our main character who will be narrating this entire book. We get a whole lot of like info dumping straight off of the bat. I'm going to speed run through this, okay? So, just keep up beside me, all right? Maybe hold my hand while I take you through this journey as we are piled on with information, all right? So, once upon a time, there was this planet called Lorien. The demonym of people from Lorien is Lorik. There are 2 types of Lorik people, the Guard and the Sapan. The Sapan are fucking useless. The Guard, on the other hand, are like the Mary Sues. They have like a plethora of different superpowers called legacies. There's a neighboring planet called Mogador, and the people from there are called the Mogadorians. The Mogadorians are comically evil, and they were the ones that stabbed this 14-year-old boy to death in the prologue. The Mogadorians genocided the Lorik by, destroying their planet, and the only survivors from that event were these 9 guard children, and, there are 9 assigned Sapan, who are not blood related to them in any way, whose only role is to protect them. When they were escaping on their spaceship, each of these kids was given a charm. This magical charm made it so that they were assigned each a number 1 from 9, and the Mogadorians could only kill them in order. So when they go to Earth, the Mogadorians would have to kill number 1 first, then number 2, number 3, etc., until they were all dead. All 9 of them have never met each other outside of their escape to Earth. They have to be kept separate for some reason, and they have to stay in these small towns. They cannot hide in big cities because the Mogadorians are really good at detecting people in cities. Why is this the case? Plot convenience, of course. So our main character is number 4. Numbers 1 through 3 have already been murdered by Mogadorians, so he's next on the chopping block. Okay, you got that? Great. So our main character lives with his Sapan guardian, whose name is Henri. He and Henri have been bopping around from small town to small town all over the United States since they first came to Earth about a decade prior, and nobody questions this. They uproot their entire lives and nobody in the towns ever report them missing. So when number 3 dies, our main character moves from the Florida Key Islands to small town Ohio. And as they are traveling up to small town Ohio, our main character has to change his name. He has to change his name every time they move towns. But Henri doesn't have to. He always is just Henri. So the main character changes his name from Daniel to, and I'm not shitting you, John Smith. What do you think of the name John Smith? I ask. Is that what you've settled on? I think so, I say. I've never been a John before, or a Smith. As if this will convince everybody that he's not an alien. And they go to Ohio. And we get this. In the beginning, we were a group of 9. 3 of us are gone, dead. There are 6 of us left. They are hunting us, and they won't stop until they've killed us all. I am number 4, and I know I am next. At one point, though, they meet, like, their landlady, and we get this. She asks me my name, and I tell her, though I am tempted, as I always am, to just say 4. This brings up a very valid question that plagued my mind for all 600 pages of this. Do these kids not have names? No, like genuinely, before their planet exploded and they were all assigned a number, did they not have names? Like, what's that one line from the first Star Trek movie? Like, they don't have names on your planet? Whatever. Just pretend that any of this makes sense, okay? You are going to have to perform, like, Olympic level mental gymnastics to pretend that any of this makes sense in this book, okay? Just make peace with that right now. So anyways, now that they're in Ohio, John gets enrolled into a new public high school, which is a fantastic idea if you're trying to hide from genocidal aliens. So many times throughout this book, I was just thinking, all of the problems caused by John being in this high school would have been solved if he was just homeschooled. It's not even that weird of a thing. Like, it wouldn't make you stand out as alien. Just say that he's homeschooled. But no, that would make too much sense. That would eliminate the possibility of like a romance plot. And we get it so quickly. It's John's first day of school, after all, and we have to remind everybody that this book was written in 2010. As is the case with most high schools, there are crowds of kids hanging around outside. They're divided into their cliques. The jocks and the cheerleaders, the band kids carrying instruments, the brains in their classes and with their textbooks and Blackberries, the stoners off to one side. Blackberries, that's how you know this was written in 2010. Maybe it's just because I went to high school in a completely different decade and my high school experience was marred by COVID, but like, this is just so fucking stupid. Anyways, he falls in love with quite literally the first girl he sees. I notice a girl taking pictures, moving easily from one group to the next. She's shockingly beautiful, with straight blonde hair past her shoulders, ivory skin, high cheekbones, and soft blue eyes. As she nears me, she lifts the camera and starts snapping pictures. I raise my hands to block my face. She lowers the camera and smiles. Don't be shy. I'm not. Just trying to protect your lens. My face might break it. Ha ha ha, so funny, fellow millennials. What's your Hogwarts house? Oh, my cute little pupper and doggo. It's gonna be a rough ride, folks, okay? It's gonna be a rough ride. So regardless, he starts fantasizing about, like, his future life with this girl. And in the process, he forgets every safety protocol he's ever been taught, which is something that John will do frequently. Throughout this book, he will consistently forget the fact that aliens want to fucking kill him. So during his first day of school, 2 things happen. 1, he gets into a pointless fight with this dude named Mark. Mark is your stereotypical bully jock. He plays football. He's just that archetype of character. I don't even remember what they get into a fight over. I think, like, John tries to trip him or whatever, and then they start yelling at each other or some shit. But as they're sitting in, like, chemistry class or whatever, John gets his first legacy, his first superpower. And it comes in the form of his hands glowing So he like freaks the hell out, like runs out of the school or whatever. This is like the alien equivalent of like puberty, I suppose. He got his period, all right? And Henri later explains to John what this power is. Lumen, he says, you're going to become resistant to fire and heat. Your hands come naturally, but we'll have to train the rest of your body. So yeah, he becomes resistant to fire. And also his hands light up. He shoots light out of his hands. That's his superpower. Really, really cool. Really cool stuff going on here. So after this, like, first page of chapter 7, we learn that Henri is a billionaire? Question mark? Okay, Lorien is, or was, depending on how you look at it. Yes, was. We learn later that the entire planet got fucking blown up. There is no planet left. What do you mean talking in present tense? You are very optimistic, Mr. John Smith. A planet rich with natural resources. Some of those resources were precious gems and metals. When we left, each Sepan was given a sack full of diamonds, emeralds, and rubies to sell when we arrived on Earth. Henri did, and then deposited the money into an overseas bank account. I don't know how much there is, and I never ask, but I know it's enough to last us 10 lifetimes. What the hell? Sure, we'll be saying that quite a lot throughout this book. Oh, and by the way, this bit of information never comes up again. Maybe it becomes relevant in the other 6 books in this series. We're never gonna find out because I'm not gonna read them. People begged me to read the 2nd book of Matched. No, I can't. Oh my fucking god. This book was torture enough, okay? This book felt like the literary equivalent of drinking antifreeze, okay? It was so bad. As another tidbit of like world building information, we are gifted with this. The rotating planets being projected on the screen at the front of the class make me think of Lorien. It is one of the 18 life-sustaining planets in the universe. Earth is another. Mogador, unfortunately, is another. Okay, wait. Pause. There are only 18 life-sustaining planets in the entire universe? The entire universe. There are only 18. Life-sustaining? The universe. Do you know how big the universe is? I just googled this right now. It's estimated that there are around 20 sextillion planets in the entire universe. 20 sextillion. That is such an incomprehensible fucking number. But you're gonna tell me, out of all of that, only 18 of them sustain life? It is quite the answer to the Fermi paradox. I will give it that. But really, life-sustaining could mean anything. By life-sustaining, do we mean like intelligent life, like humanoid-like life? Or just life in general, because they suspect that there's life on Europa. Europa is a moon, though, so I'll let that slide. But, like, and even if we're going by, like, intelligent life, in the entire universe, there are only 18 planets with intelligent life on it. How the fuck? Do you know how big the universe is? 20 sextillion planets. What are the odds that these 3 planets, Lorien, Mogador, and Earth, would be within traveling distance, for one, or within distance of even being able to know about each other? The odds are so, like, impossibly slim. It boggles my mind. And I probably shouldn't be thinking too deep into this. This is a YA book from 2010. But, like, wow. That piece of information bothered me so bad. Okay, anyways, rant over on that. So at this point in the book, Henri pulls out this, like, magical stone from Lorien. He, like, rubs it on John's skin. It acts as, like, LSD. Like, he starts tripping balls. He gets these very, like, intense, vivid hallucinations, and through these hallucinations, he's able to see, like, the very last day of Lorien when the Mogadorians came and, like, blew the place up. And like Henri makes him do this several times, just consistently traumatizing him over and over and over again. But not to worry, because Henri drops a whole lot of exposition on us as we are seeing these horribly graphic images of Lorien being destroyed. Our guard had dropped. The Mogadorians planned well, picking the exact moment when they knew we were at our most vulnerable, when our planet's elders were gone. Pittacus Lore, the greatest of them all, their leader, had assembled them before the attack. Wait a minute. Pittacus Lore, the greatest of them, their leader had assembled them before. Pittacus Lore is Mogadorian? Wait a minute. I thought he was from Lorien. Also, before anybody comments, yes, I'm aware that there is a movie adaptation of this from 2011. I'm not reading it. This passage is written to make him seem like he's... Oh, I'm fucking stupid. Their leader, like the elders' leader. Apologies for my stupidity. So yeah, Pittacus Lore is a character in this book. He's mentioned like only this one time, but if Pittacus Lore is like this in-universe character and also the author of this book, it really begs the question, why is this book written in first person from John's perspective? If you wanted it to be like, oh, this elder is like writing this story from like a historical archive point of view, you know what I mean? Like, why is it written from John's perspective? So anyways, back to school. John starts to befriend this guy that in his class named Sam. Sam, you learn very quickly, is insane. Sam takes out a sheet of paper and begins scribbling wildly, pausing at times to consult an article in the magazine he has opened up beside him. I look over his shoulder and read the title, Entire Montana Town Abducted by Aliens. Yeah, Sam spends his time like in the depths of Reddit, okay? He is on that tinfoil hat grind. He is alien conspiracy maxing all the time, all day, every day, just 24/7, you know how it goes. I look at Sam. I've never met someone with a fascination in aliens to the point of reading and taking notes on conspiracy theories. You know, for the amount of times that John and Henri have integrated themselves into communities, to their detriment, really, because it's a stupid idea, you're telling me you've never met someone in your entire life who's been into alien conspiracy theories? You've went to, like, how many public schools? You've lived in how many small towns? And earlier in the book, they mentioned that he used to live in New Mexico. You can't live in New Mexico and not know people who are alien conspiracy theorists. Like, oh my god. John may have the power to shoot light from his hands, but he is not the brightest bulb in the box, I will tell you that much. So, what were you reading in astronomy today? I ask. An entire Montana town abducted by aliens? He grins at me. Yeah, that's the theory, he says, somewhat shyly, as though embarrassed. Why would an entire town be abducted? Do you really want to know? Of course. Well, the theory is that the government has been allowing alien abductions in exchange for technology, like chips for supercomputers and formulas for more bombs and green technologies, stuff like that. But why? I mean, what reason could they possibly have? So that when Armageddon comes, they'll know our weaknesses and be able to easily defeat us by exposing them. Wouldn't it be easy for them if they already have bombs and technologies far superior to our own? Well, some people seem to think that they're hoping we'd kill ourselves first. So, yeah, needless to say, Sam has that tinfoil hat firmly glued to his head. Oh, by the way, throughout the course of this book, we get the developing relationship between John and that blonde girl from the first couple of chapters, whose name is Sarah. It is the most flavorless romance plotline you could possibly imagine. It is the YA romance plotline equivalent of a plate of unbuttered bread, seasonless chicken, and like mashed potatoes with nothing on them. The authors just put this in because, you know, the romance plotlines were the big thing in the YA books of the era. And I'll give you some examples of how, like, You know what? I knew you were special the first time I saw you, she says. I feel the same way with you. She reaches up and kisses me again, her hand lightly pressed to my cheek. For the first few seconds, I'm lost in the feel of her lips on mine, and in the idea that I'm with this beautiful girl. Or, blood rushes to my face and my shoulders stiffen. I grab a pencil and begin to twirl it in my right hand while my left bends back the corners of my notepad. My heart is pounding. Please don't let my hands be glowing. I peek at my palm and breathe a sigh of relief that it's still normal. Stay calm, I think. She's just a girl. Yeah, okay. Nobody gives a fuck about that. So back to the actual, like, plot of this book. The magazine that Sam is subscribed to is called... Okay. The magazine that Sam is subscribed to is called something like They Walk Among Us. But it becomes very, like, relevant because Sam mentions to John and Henri at one point that, like, he knows who the Mogadorians are because they were mentioned in this magazine. There isn't a publisher info page. What do you mean? You know how magazines and newspapers always have that page listing staff, editors, writers, where it's printed and all that? You know, for questions, contact so-and-so. All publications have them, but this doesn't. He grabs it from his closet. I quickly flip through it, hoping that the Mogadorian article is in this one and not an earlier month. And then I find it on page 4. The Mogadorian race seeks to take over Earth. The Mogadorian alien race from the planet Mogador of the 9th galaxy has been on Earth for over 10 years. They are a vicious race on a quest for universal domination. They are rumored to have wiped out another planet not unlike Earth, and are planning to expose Earth's weaknesses in a quest to inhabit our planet next. More to follow next issue. So this becomes very concerning, and Henri decides that he wants to, like, really get to the bottom of this. So he does, like, some, like, intense Googling and finds out that the magazine is being printed in Athens, Ohio, which is, like, a 2-hour drive away from their small town. So he decides to go and drive out to Athens, Ohio, and investigate this whole thing. He tells John, like, oh, I'll be back in a couple of hours, like, don't even worry about it. This happens on, like, American Thanksgiving. Henri promises John, like, oh, I'll be back for, like, the Thanksgiving dinner with your girlfriend, Sarah. Why he lets him have a girlfriend, even though they could move towns at a moment's notice. Whatever. We will never know. Henri, however, does not return. John goes to this Thanksgiving dinner with Sarah. He still doesn't show up. It's been several hours now. He starts to get freaked out. He calls up Sam and explains the situation to Sam. Wait, I'm reading through my notes here and I'm realizing I skipped over the whole Halloween party thing. There was a Halloween party and that Mark guy tried to beat the shit out of John and then John used his powers on him like a fucking idiot. Okay, that doesn't matter. Back to what I was talking about. So John calls up Sam, explains the situation to him that everybody thinks that Henri is his father. He's like, my dad's gone missing. So they decide to hop in Sam's, like, uncle's truck and drive 2 hours to Athens, Ohio. Now, the both of them are, like, 14. And I had to Google this. I had to Google, like, at what age can you drive in Ohio? And it's, like, 15 or 16. So, you know, they're committing a crime. Whatever. As they're driving there, though, they, of course, talk about aliens. He looks up at me. I think my dad was abducted, he says. Why do you think that? Because he just disappeared. He went to the store to buy milk and bread and never came back. Yup, yeah, you can't make this shit up. Sam's dad went to go get milk. He went to the store to go get milk. Once again, this is something that never comes back up again. At least in this book, you will never find out what happened to Sam's dad. So they get to this place where the magazine is being printed. They, like, break in and they find Henri. Henri had been kidnapped by the guy, like, writing this magazine. A length of duct tape is across his mouth. His hands are bound behind him. his ankles tied to the legs of the chair in which he is sitting. His hair is tousled, and down the right side of his face is a line of dried blood that almost looks black. Keep that description in mind for a minute, okay? The two of them end up saving Henri. Henri is fine, don't worry about that. And Henri and John reveal to Sam that they are actually aliens. And of course, Sam believes them wholeheartedly. But when they get home, Henri confirms to John that yes, like, this dude knew about the Mogadorians, and because of that, we need to get out of Ohio now. We are gonna go to, like, Idaho or something. I don't even know. John flips the hell out. At this point, you know, he's gotten his period again, and his new power is telekinesis. And because Henri is a Sapan, John, like, uses his telekinesis to, like, lift him up into the air, and John says to him, like, I'll let you down when you say that we're staying in Ohio. We're not leaving. You're acting like a child. No, I'm acting like someone who is starting to realize who he is and what he can do. John, you're a fucking idiot. Lest we forget, John is being hunted down by aliens. This alien race wants to kill him, and he is killable, alright? He's next on the chopping block because of this charm. And he's willing to sacrifice that for what? A girl that he's known 2 months? You know, it's interesting rereading this as an adult, because clearly this is written with the intention of, you're supposed to view Henri as, like, being the bad guy in this situation and, like, not understanding. Like, he's just old and he doesn't get it. But, like, reading this as, like, a full-grown adult and, like, not a 13-year-old anymore, I'm like, no, Henri was completely in the right in this. Like, John is just so stupid. This is why I can't read YA anymore. Like, the teenage main characters just piss me off too much. So, eventually, Henri relents and they decide to stay in Ohio. Okay. John continues to hallucinate throughout this book about Lorien. We learn that Loriens have been visiting Earth, like, for centuries, and many people throughout history were half Loric. What happens if we try to have children with humans? It's happened many times before. Usually it results in an exceptional and gifted human. Some of the greatest figures in Earth's history were actually the product of humans and the Loric, including Buddha, Aristotle, Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, Thomas Jefferson, and Albert Einstein. Einstein was canonically half alien. Fuck it, sure. So John and Sarah then get invited to this, like, house party at Mark's place. And there's a house fire at one point. Everybody's evacuating, and Sarah gets stuck in one of the rooms, so John goes back into the flaming house. And because he's resistant to fire and getting burned, he's able to save her, no problem. What just happened, John? What is happening? You were in a fire, and I got you out of it. What you did isn't possible. It is for me. What is that supposed to mean? I am not who you think I am, I say. Who are you? I am number 4. Absolute cinema. I'm an alien. I'm the 4th of 9 kids sent to Earth after our planet was destroyed. I have powers unlike any human, powers that allow me to do things like I did in that house. And there are other aliens here on Earth who are hunting me, the ones who attacked my planet. And if they find me, they will kill me. Sarah does not question that paragraph at all. She believes it pretty wholeheartedly. After this, we learned that the people behind the magazine were found murdered, and this, like many other things in this book, is never brought up again. Who murdered them? Presumably it was the Mogadorians, but why? Like, for what reason? Do we know for sure? No, we're never gonna find out. Why would you want to know about that? Like, why would you even care? Anyways, we're getting near the end of this book. The Mogadorians then pull up. Because John was an idiot and, like, begged Henri not to leave Ohio, they, like, triangulate their exact location and they pull up and try to kill him. Wow, who could have foreseen this happening? Certainly not I. But as he's about to get, like, fucking murdered, right, he gets saved by this girl he's never seen before. And she introduces herself. "I am number 6, she says. "I tried to get here before they did."
You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man.
So their town starts getting attacked by these like big monsters that the Mogadorians just have at their disposal. And we learned that these monsters were specifically used to track down Lorik people. If we had giant monsters that could track down these Lorik people, why the fuck were they not using them this whole time to find these kids? Why are we just finding out about them now? The Mogadorians, it is a miracle that they as a species have survived this long. Oh, also, I didn't mention this until now, but like, John adopted this dog who kind of just like appeared out of nowhere, named it like Bernie Kosar, and he's just like had this dog the entire time. Well, we learned something interesting about the dog. I reached my hand out to Bernie Kosar. I wish I could stand and grab him and get away. His growls are so fierce that his whole body shakes, tremors coursing through him, and then something begins to happen. Bernie Kosar begins to grow. So yeah, turns out that the dog, Bernie Kosar, is this thing called a chimera. And the chimera are these animals from Lorien that are able to like shapeshift. So the dog is an alien. Einstein's an alien. The dog's an alien. Bitch, I'm an alien. You're an alien. So anyways, this like long battle with the Mogadorians continues for like so long. Oh, this book is torture, you guys. It's torture. They end up winning, but Henri dies. Oh no.
Oh, we're so sorry to hear about your
Sapon
that passed away. He gets 5 big booms. Boom! 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 Boom!
But he dies in the most stereotypical, like, goofy... Let me just read it. I fall face first in the grass. I'm grazed by something, but I don't see what it is. Henri cries out in pain behind me and is flung 30 feet away, his body lying in the mud, face up, smoking. I have no idea what hit him. Something big and deadly. Panic and fear hit me. Not Henri, I think. Please not Henri. You are Lorien's legacy, John. You and the others. The only hope the planet has left. The secrets, he says, and is gripped by a fit of coughs. More blood. His eyes just close again. We'll make it back together, Henri. Me and you. I promise, I say, and close my eyes. Be strong, he says, and is overtaken by slight coughs, though he tries to speak through them. This war can win. Find the others. 6. The power of, he says, and trails off. And then he fucking dies. So after this, John passes out, and when he wakes up, he decides to leave Sarah and Mark. Oh yeah, Mark was in this whole battle as well. What the fuck was he doing? I don't know. But he was there. He was witness to all of this. The town was just, like, attacked by giant aliens, and, like, no one seems to notice or care. So when he wakes up, John, Sam, Six, and the fucking dog decide to leave Ohio. Where are they going? God knows. And that's the end of the book. This book was so awful. This was so awful. Dare I say, it was worse than Matched. At least Matched was kind of funny, and I was able to get through Matched pretty quickly. This took me forever. This felt like genuine labor. This was so hard. As I said in my Goodreads review, it is so bad, I want to give you a 0. But that's not possible. So I give you a 1. This shit was ass. Do not ask me to read the other books in this series. I'm not gonna do it. I can't. I can't. This was hard enough. Everybody in this book was unbelievably stupid. Everything in this book was unbelievably stupid. I hated it. I hated every second of it. But I love making these videos, and I love getting on here on this camera to yap about how much I hate reading these things. Because it's fun and it gets me views. Anyways, once again, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share with your friends, all that YouTuber shit. Follow me on Goodreads. I make some banger reviews on there, truly. Thank you all for enjoying my pain and suffering, as always, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.